should we be watching for as the trade deadline looms?
Separation, Alana. And what I mean by that is teams that will maybe fall out of contention, teams that will start to see themselves more as contenders, teams that are on the bubble. Those teams need to decide which way they're going. Now, we know full well that the buy-sell equation is not necessarily binary. Some teams will do both, and it is simplistic to divide teams into that category or those categories. But we do know also that there are teams that just are not quite sure where they are. Teams that are maybe 3.5, 4 back in the wild card race. Teams that might be in that kind of position, 3.5, 4 back, but think we don't really have a chance to win the World Series. So that's what we're looking for over the next couple of weeks. Teams to define themselves, figure out exactly who they are.
Ken, the AL wildcard picture seems to be very muddled. What do you think happens with that? How do you believe that plays out?
I'm not exactly sure, Alana, and a lot will depend on the deadline, on which teams make moves. Now, the Central has a number of teams, the Royals, the Guardians, the Twins, those three in particular, that can go either way, that seemingly have a chance of a wild card, but you're really not sure kind of where they stand. In the East, I fully expect Boston to try to go for it. Toronto and the Yankees, of course, are in that position already. And in the West, the Mariners are a team that still want to do some things, still want to win. So it's a muddled picture. It's kind of what we're getting at here. And I don't know that I expect it to change. I have not mentioned the Texas Rangers there, but they could be 2 hot weeks away from being a team that is a buyer as well.
So much can change over the course of the next 2 weeks, Ken. The Orioles, though, are they a classic should? What does that mean?
They are a classic should sell. Should sell. That's what the should means there, Alana. And yes, they already have made the one move before the deadline, the Brian Baker trade to the Tampa Bay Rays, a good one because it netted them the 37th pick in the draft. And you see the list of trade candidates. These are just players on expiring contracts, except for Baker, who has 3 years of club control remaining. Ryan O'Hearn is an all-star. Ramon Laureano has had a really good run for them. Cedric Mullins, center fielder, and then some right-handed pitching starters. Charlie Morton and Tomoyuki Sagano, as well as Andrew Kittredge and Sir Anthony Dominguez. And then on the injured list of those, Eflin is the one who likely is coming back. So, yes, they're going to do some things. They, with the trade of Baker, identified themselves as sellers. We've all been waiting for that. We know they're a disappointment. They want controllable starting pitching. Not sure they can get it before the deadline. Teams that have it don't want to trade it. But the Orioles, I expect, will be active, yes. Somewhat like the Tampa Bay Rays were last year when they had that massive sell-off, traded 9 players.
Not to say that it's easy to get into the postseason, Kenny, but it seems like it's an easier pathway in the American League. The National League seems a much more tough race in terms of getting to that postseason with the amount of teams. Let's talk about NL home field advantage. Who separates themselves?
Well, you're talking about the elite teams, Alana, right? And that would be the Phillies, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Cubs, and maybe even the Brewers in that mix. The Dodgers are a team that designed their roster with the intent of not overpaying at the deadline, and I don't expect them to be terribly active. What they have generally looked to do under Andrew Freeman, and this is Freeman's philosophy going back to his days with Tampa Bay, is look for impact moves. So if they can get an impact reliever or an impact bat that would be maybe better than what Michael Conforto has given them, yeah, I can see them doing that, but I don't know that they're going to do big things. The Phillies, on the other hand, have significant needs. Need for an outfielder and, more importantly, need for bullpen help. Yes, Jose Alvarado is coming back, but he'll only be available for the regular season. And yes, they can move a starter to the bullpen for the postseason the way they have in the past. But I don't see them necessarily just sitting and standing there saying that's good enough. They can't do that. They know they need bullpen help, and they're going to go out and get it.
All right, Ken, so that's what the 5 contenders in the National League are looking to add. What about the American League? You know the Yankees are going to be in the mix. Toronto's looking good. Obviously, Detroit has kind of led wire to wire so far this season. What are each of those teams missing? What do they need to complement what's already a good roster?
First off, Alana, I expect each of those teams to be aggressive. The Yankees' needs are clear. Third base, big need. Starting pitcher, big need. 2 bullpen arms, that would be a need as well. The Blue Jays I expect to be aggressive as well. They don't need much help on the offensive side. Obviously, if they can find impact, they would do that. But on the pitching side, they have some short and long-term concerns. Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett are free agents at the end of the year, so a controllable starter for them would be outstanding. Gausman and Barrios only have 1 more year after this one. And then in the bullpen, I expect Jeff Hoffman to be better in the second half, but at the same time, a high leverage reliever would be certainly something that the Jays would want to add, as well as every other team in the mix. Could they go get a left fielder, someone in the outfield as well? Yes, they could, but I expect them to be pitching heavy. And then finally, the Tigers, another team that will be pitching heavy. They seem to have settled on their right-handed hitting needs. They're okay there, but another starter for sure. And swing and miss relief pitching is something that they've been looking for quite some time. They've got a good pen, but they'd love to get a guy in there who can just strike out people and do it that way.
Ken, I love the fact that so many extra teams get into the postseason because it's good for the fan base and it keeps people interested a lot longer, but it also muddles the situation in terms of who's going to buy and who's going to sell. In your time covering this game, how do you think the wild card picture and the expansion of the wild card teams has changed the deadline?
Exactly what you just said, Alana. It's muddled the picture, and it's forced teams to hold on longer because they don't want to give up on a season necessarily and signal to their fans that, you know what, even though we're 4 games out of a wild card, we don't feel we can do it. And teams that have done that in recent years have gotten heavily criticized, and it's just not a healthy way to go about it. Teams should be competing. That's the whole point of the sport. Compete and get to the playoffs. So while it's muddled the picture, it's also made it more interesting in certain respects because at times we will see what they call baseball trades. And what GMs and baseball people mean by that, what they mean by the term baseball trades is major league need for major league need. And rather than a prospect trade in which you're trading a veteran for prospects, you're addressing something on the major league roster both ways. So it's going to be an interesting deadline. A lot of people expect it to be a dud. I don't know that it will be. Yes, Rafael Devers probably was the best player who will be traded, but there is always action, Alana, and I am quite sure.
Like game 1 and 3, right, Ryan? Like against the Dominican and the United
game
States.
3, but I couldn't say no.
I mean, can you imagine just starting both games with like a day off? I faced Ryan during our career. He got the best of me a lot, so it was just fun. It's just those are the kind of things like all-star games and WBCs and things of that nature where you get to play with guys that you wouldn't technically get to play with throughout the course of your career. You get to hang out off the field together, ride buses together. So, it's fun. It's really cool to be able to share fields with players that you wouldn't technically do, and got to do that with Ryan in 2017.
Yeah, and Freddie, by the way, Sierra got me too. He hit me with a line drive right off my elbow. I still got cartilage there that's built up. I caught the ball. A lot of people don't realize it squared me up in the elbow.
Yeah, right. You hit a line drive and you still get out. It's just kind of how the game works.
That's right. Hey, I this isn't a question, Freddie. This is more of a statement, and I just want to say this, man. And you talked about in there, like, you don't like to style home runs. You run out of the box every time. As a fan, as somebody who watches countless games all year long, as somebody who respects you, I appreciate so much, and I know we all do here. Kevin does so much. You're his favorite player in the game. The way you play the game, the way you grind through injuries if you have to, like you did last year, and we know there's other things that go on that nobody's privy to. The way you prepare for the big moments and how you handle yourself on here, off the field, on the field, in the clubhouse. We're so thankful, man, because you're setting a tone for the next generation, and guys should be looking up to how you play the game. So thank you for that, because it is so appreciated.
Thank you, Ryan. Gives me chills hearing those kind of words. I just try to play the game. The game's given so much to me and my family over my life, so I try to treat the game the right way, play it the right way. I don't have that many years left. Unfortunately, I'm getting up there in age, but I love this game so much. I try to play it. There's so many kids that are coming out here to watch you play. You don't know if that's their only game that they're going to be able to come to that year, so just try to give it your all. And I don't run as fast anymore, Ryan, so it takes a little bit longer to get down to first base these days, but you're just trying to give everything you got every day because, like you said, the next generation, hopefully we can leave it in some good hands.
Freddie, you know what I'm not thankful for? You couldn't see me, but you made me cry just now during that interview.
Don't worry. I cry all the time. It's fine.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on.
No.
We can't wait to watch the doc, and
Thank you.
we're going to see you in Atlanta.
I can't wait. See you guys next week.
Can't
and I
wait,
hope you
man.
guys enjoy the
Appreciate
doc.
you, dude, so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank
Have a
you
great
guys.
day.
Yep, you too.
Buster number 3, and that is Stephen Kwan and Emmanuel Clase to the LA Dodgers. Just imagine Stephen Kwan, not at, but towards the top of that Dodger lineup. I don't want to move Ohtani out of the leadoff spot, but you insert Kwan ahead of Betts and Freeman and Smith, setting the table. Conforto out, Kwan in is a tremendous upgrade. And we'll talk about the years of control because Kwan is still in the arbitration years, but this screams extension candidate as well. And for that bullpen, talking about upgrades, talking about impactful additions, Emmanuel Clase, trading for him, inserting him into that closer role would be a tremendous boost to this Dodgers bullpen, which is in need of and in search of this trade deadline season. They have to address the bullpen. This would be the best way to go out and do it. And when you think about beyond just the 2025 season, you've got Emmanuel Clase on a very team-friendly contract for the next couple of years, $6.5 million for next year, and then 2 club options at $10 million. I'll take that. And then you have the 2 years of arbitration we just talked about with Stephen Kwan for 26 and 27. And again, that's probably going to get voided out because this is a clear extension candidate if the Dodgers can go out and get him, go lock him up beyond those arbitration years. So big additions, big upgrades, improvements for the Dodgers with Clase in that pen and Stephen Kwan out in left field. Now what's going to have to go to Cleveland? You know that Clase and Kwan are going to demand a strong return, and we have to send that. There is no hoodwinking. There is no highway robbery here. This is a significant return package. Going to Cleveland, we will send Dalton Rushing, Emmett Sheehan, and Emil Morales. Rushing, the number 1 prospect in the Dodgers organization last year. He has since lost that claim as he's up at the majors right now and is no longer able to be graded as a prospect, but a 55 out of 80 grade. Emmett Sheehan has thrown 73 innings at the major league level. He's had some ups and some downs, but we've seen him pitch really well, and I think he would be a great boost, a great addition to that Guardians rotation for this year and the years moving forward because he has a ton of control as well. And you have Emil Morales, the number 7 prospect in the Dodgers organization, 50 out of 80 graded piece as well. So 3 strong and significant prospects, building blocks for Cleveland for the years to come. When we think about the values, this is a significant package because of the values assigned to Emmanuel Clase and Stephen Kwan. Combined, we are looking at 64 to 96 million in value with Clase and Kwan, and we got to get somewhere in between that range, and we're able to do that. Okay, again, remember, 64 and 96. That's the combined range for the 2 going to LA. We are able to send 90 million in value on that high end. Again, remember, that's what all of these accomplish. The high end of the prospects, the pieces, I shouldn't say prospects because it's not all prospects, the pieces headed back. The high end has to get to that middle ground for the pieces going in the other direction. And we do that here, getting to 90. We're actually close to, there's 96 was the high end for Clase and Kwan, and we get to 90, the high end for the 3 pieces going from the Dodgers to